This is section number 2 for the course Finance for Strategic Managers. And today we are going to complete the LO1, 1.3 and 3.1. Analyze the risk related to financial business decision. Now, first we have to focus on the command verb, that is analyze. It means you have to break the subject, that is the definition, into small parts. Try to define it in a better way. Then you can even add an example. Afterwards, you will work on the main issues, problems, and solutions at the same time with that important significance. And at the end of the document, you need to add it with the references and how it's styled. This is the whole description of command verb analyze. Then the question is talking about risk, mitigation, problems, hurdles, which are related to the business decisions in terms of finance. All the points are from your indicative content. Analyzing the risk related to financial business decision is crucial for making informed choices that safeguard the financial health and sustainability of an organization. Now, what it means, it is such a necessity in a business, whether it's a small, medium, or even a multinational, large corporation. You need to work on the finance way too critically. Because if literally a minute problem arises, it can disrupt the whole process. Financial decisions encompass various areas, each carrying its own set of risk. Because we are working in different departments with different procedures and steps, that is why it possesses problems, issues, and risk too. Mitigation refers to the action of reducing the severity, seriousness, or negative impact of something. What it means, you cannot totally eliminate the risk. What you can do, you can reduce it. You can take another step in terms of the existing one, but the effects are going to be still there. It is a proactive strategy. It means you are going to take the measures, a set of measures taken to prevent or minimize the adverse effects of various risks, threats, or challenges. That is, whenever we work on any of a project, task, procedures, steps, we always work on the contingency plans as well. That is the backup plan. If the XYZ issue will arise, what we are going to take the best possible measures. Market risk. Market risk relates to the potential for the financial losses due to changes in market conditions such as fluctuations in interest rates, exchange rates, and stock prices. Finance in a corporate sector in a business does not signify to stakeholders, consumers, suppliers, and shareholders only. It needs to be related with the country, with the world as well. That is why we need to work with the interest rates because we have taken loans from the banks, exchange rates, the currency. It appreciates, depreciates. It also have an effect on finance. Stock prices, because if you're a big company, public company, you're listed at the stock market, definitely your prices are going to be fluctuate as well. Mitigation, steps which we can take, measures. Diversification of investments. You're not going to invest in only one kind of field. You can do that in dignified way. Hedging strategies. If something happens, how you can hop with it, like just to jump over it. And thorough market analysis can help mitigate market risk. Before doing the investment, before entering into any market, you need to do proper research from the auditors, from the competitors, rivals, and the market as well. Credit risk. Credit risk arises when a borrower fails to meet their financial obligation. That is, you have taken a loan from a bank or any source of finance, and now you're not able to pay back. It can affect the company's accounts receivable, that is the money which is going to come inside, and investments in bonds or loans. Mitigation steps to overcome this or the measures. Credit risk can be mitigated by conducting credit checks. That is, you are going to see beforehand that what's the limit of yours. Setting credit limits as well, at which extent you can spend. And diversifying the consumer or investment portfolio. That is both how you can uh, go ahead with more sales with the consumers and you can grab the attentions of the investors and the shareholders in the company. Liquidity risk. Liquidity risk is the risk of not having enough cash or assets that can be quickly converted into cash to meet financial obligations. That is, houses, bungalows, Mm, and one more thing, machinery, sometimes they're not easily saleable. You need to do hunt for it. Even the car as well. Not everyone is readily happy to buy the car or different assets. It takes time to give you up the cash. Like even when you sell a car, they do not in like in a minute give you the whole cash. They take days. There's a proper agreement, a contract, and then half payment is done through check, few amount is done with the cash. Then the thing is resolved. That is why it is way too difficult to go for the liquidity risk. That is how much cash is in your hand in the business. Litigation. Maintaining educate cash reserves in the banks and with the companies. We have reserves. It means whenever there is going to be a problem in a company, we have enough money, cash in liquid form that we can resolve the issue at moment. But for most of the business, it's not easy because we have to give the commissions, the bonuses. That is why. Having access to the lines of credit from where you can take the loan whenever it needs. And effective cash flow management can mitigate liquidity risk. That is more cash inflow, less cash outflow. That is the best possible way to liquidify the cash in a business. Operational risk. Now, this pertains to the potential financial losses due to the internal processes, system failures, fraud, or human error. Internal processes which are required to make up the product, sometimes they fail as well. System failures which we have installed in the different sectors of manufacturing, production, and so on. Fraud, fraudulent activities, corruptions, etc. Or human error. By human, we also make problems, and it can cause big effect on the finance and on the production too. Mitigation, implementing robust internal controls. That is, your management is quite vigilant with each and everything. Disaster recovery plans. That is a mitigation plan if something happens, because natural calamity also occurs all the time. Um, so we need to be prepared for it. And regular risk assessments can mitigate operational risk, that is, check and balance of different machineries, assets in the company, and even the systems too. After every month, we can have a regular checkup of the systems, of the internet connections, and different softwares. Risk. Strategic risk relates to the potential financial losses resulting from poor strategic decision. That is, in the start, you haven't done proper research, and now you're going to have problem in the and in between too, including entering the new markets, product launches, or mergers and acquisition. That is when you're going to penetrate into a new market, into a whole new industry. Product launches, you were working with the soap, now you have to go for the shampoos. Mergers and acquisition, that is acquiring another business, or you're going to merge, you're going to submerge with it. Compliance and regulatory risk. Non compliance with laws and regulations can result in fines and legal expenses, impacting financial stability. Now, what it means when you're not following the rules and regulations applied by the government, agencies, auditors, and the bodies which are associated to, definitely you're going to come up with so many taxes and penalties, money and fines. Education, robust compliance programs, that is regularly you are having a checkup, for instance, that every month new law is coming or a new upgrade thing is going on. So you need to upgrade the systems to the whole management too. Regular audits, check and balance from the finance auditors. Staying informed about regulatory changes can mitigate compliance risk. That is, you're going to stay ahead with everything. And in this term, your research and development department should be quite alert. In conclusion, financial business decisions encompass a wide range of risks that must be carefully analyzed and managed. That is, the Department of Finance should be quite vigilant in each and every job because small risks which we were just talked right now, they can have an hindrance effect on the whole business. Effective risk management involves a combination of risk mitigation strategies. You cannot eliminate it, but you can make it better. Financial analysis, cash inflow, outflow, income statement, profit, loss, everything, and proactive approach to identifying and addressing potential threats to the organization's financial stability and success. In taking those measures which you think and you're capable enough to take the control over, and then definitely the success is going to be yours, and the business is going to be sustained in the market for a very prolonged period of time. So this was assessment criteria 1.3. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
LO3 states Be able to evaluate proposals for strategic decisions on capital expenditure in an organization. So, the complete LO3 is going to be about capital expenditure, which we do in the companies. With that, how we can go ahead with the strategic decisions. 3.1 states review methods for appraising strategic capital expenditure projects and strategic direction. Now, in this assessment criteria, we're having two things: first, expenditure projects, and then the strategic direction. With that, appraising strategic capital expenditure project means how things are going to be upgraded with the passage of time. And then there are steps and methods too. The command verb is review, and it means analyze in detail the positive and negative aspects, that is, pros and cons of the stated two elements, that was capital expenditure and strategic direction. Appraisal means, in the context of capital expenditure projects, it involves evaluating the feasibility, profitability, and potential risk associated with an investment. That is, you are going to work thoroughly with strengths and weaknesses of capital expenditure projects. What are the similarities and differences? And in the end, you are going to make recommendations as well. Then comes, it includes the use of financial metrics, that is the accountable steps, procedures which are used in the finance sector specifically, and qualitative assessment, that is the one you can say financial metric is a kind of quantitative measures which can be measured, and qualitative is in which you're going to dignify with the quality to determine whether the project aligns with the organization's strategic goals, because the ultimate goal is always to align everything with the goals and objectives of the organization. That is why we need to work on the quantitative measures as well and qualitative measures too. Capital expenditure, capex. Now this refers to the funds a company allocates to acquire, upgrade, or maintain long-term assets such as property, equipment, or technology. That is all about the assets. Even when you buy asset, there is an expense on it. You cannot just make things idle and do not do anything to it. If you're not working with it, or you're not upgrading it, or at least you're not watching it up that whether it's working fine or not, you're going to get an expense over it. Like you buy a house, but you cannot keep it empty all the time. You need to hire people for it, for the security and then for the cleaning purposes. Otherwise, it will be depreciating its value. These expenditures are incurred to generate future economic benefits and are recorded as assets on the balance sheet. Now, capital expenditure specifically comes under the balance sheet is actually now obsolete word. The new word is statements of financial position. In this specifically work on assets, liabilities, personal drawings, taxes, and yes, non-current and non-current assets as well, everything. Why it is necessary to work with economic benefits? Because these things ultimately help the economy too in generating employment, interest rates, balance of payments. Strategic capital expenditure projects. These are significant investments made by the business to acquire, improve, or expand its long term assets with the primary goal of advancing the organization's strategic objectives. Again, the thing lies there that we have to work with the goals and objectives of the organization, but apart from it, what the capital expenditure project in strategically means, it means we're going to take over another business. And even when we're taking over another business, we need to see what is their management, how the work environment is there. Everything matters a lot. And we can upgrade ourselves, we can do improvement in ourselves as a business, or we can expand the long term assets like businesses, factories, and so on. These projects typically require substantial financial resources and have a lasting impact on the company's operation. Obviously, when you're having enough reserves, cash reserves, liquidity risk, then you can go ahead up with these steps. With that, you need to work on the daily expenses too, which is going on in the business. From here, the main lecture start. First, we did the definition so that the concept in the whole assessment criteria gets clear. Review of methods for appraising strategic capital expenditure projects and strategic direction. Strategic capital expenditure projects are critical decisions for the businesses as they have a long term impact on the organization's strategic direction. Because everything is parallel to each other, that is why if you take one step wrong, it will affect the whole organization and the mechanism. These investments often require substantial financial resources and can shape the future competitiveness and growth of the company. Because the resources are not the easy one when it comes to the finance. It is so difficult. Even if you're extracting up the money, you're building up, or you are going up for the sale and purchase purposes. It has a whole connection with the company, with the people, with the employers, conditions, suppliers, everyone. Evaluating, that is, working on the pros and cons and everything, projects necessitates a comprehensive appraisal process, which includes the consideration of various methods and the distinction between capital and revenue expenditure. Now, both of the things are different. Capital is an asset, money. Revenue is the one which is generating through the sales. This is the main difference, the distinction, the difference. Then the various methods includes techniques, definitely. First is the difference, capital versus revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure means it involves the acquisition or improvement of assets that provide benefits over multiple accounting periods. Because once you have invested in an asset, whether it's current or non current, it is going to give you a benefit. Asset never depreciates its value. The expense is still there, but it never depreciates, it always appreciates most of the time. Like when there is a financial crisis in an economy, then the prices of the car drops. Otherwise, it is perfectly fine. These expenditures are expected to generate future economic benefits like purchasing a new factory or upgrading a technology. Why it again links the future benefits of economy? Because we are generating employment through it, inflation, interest rates, balance of payment, monetary policy, taxes, subsidies, money supply, everything. Revenue expenditure, however, is the day to day operational expenses required to maintain a company's current level operations. Now, I gave you the definition of capital and revenue in the terms, like the what it means. But when you work with the expenditure, it means the daily expenses which is going on in the company or to maintain that asset at that capital expenditure. That is what necessary is. It's a whole cost on a company. These costs are incurred for short term benefits and do not increase the company's asset base. When we work with revenue expenditure, the benefits are going to be there, but they're not going to be prolonged for more than a year. That's the short term benefits. And with that, it won't increase the base of the company's asset too. It's very difficult to work with the assets, whether it's non current or current assets. That is, you're not going to expand your business size and premises, everything. When it comes to decision making in terms of both capital and revenue, decisions regarding capital expenditures are strategic, that is organization oriented, and long term in nature. You're not going to be existing it for less than a year or a year, it is going to be more than a year. They involve evaluating the potential return on investment, risk assessment, and alignment with the company's strategic goals. Now, capital, that is the assets. They are all working with these strengths, weaknesses, similarities, differences, recommendations of different investments which we have done in different areas of an organization or with the competitors or in that stock exchange. Then it comes with the risk as well. That is why we go for the mitigation properties and aligning with everything with the goals of organization. Revenue, however, is decisions regarding revenue expenditures are typically routine and operational. That is, on the daily basis, the task differentiates from another day. So the expense is also going to be different. Focus on sustaining ongoing business activities because we want that everything should be running in a smoother and normal way in a daily time. Treatment in financial statement. Now, it means where we treat capital and revenue, where we add these two terminologies in income statement, statement of financial position. Capital are recorded on the balance sheet, that is the statements of financial position as assets. What as asset? As current assets and non-current assets. They are depreciated or amortized over their useful life. That is, we work with the factor of depreciation with the assets. When we purchase the asset, that time and till now, we do the differences and then we come up with that whether the value of that asset appreciated, increased, or decreased. And the associated costs are spread over several accounting periods, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Like I purchased gold in 2018, now it's 2025. I'm gonna get the difference. Both of these, like the years we had till 18 till 25, and I'm going to divide that by the countable life. Revenue. Revenue expenditures are recorded as expenses in the income statement for the period in which they are incurred directly impacting profitability. The less expenditure, better it is for the company and for the gross profit as well. That's the revenue. Methods for appraising strategic capital expenditure projects. Several methods can be used to appraise strategic capital expenditure projects, each with its own benefits and issues, pros and cons. NPV, net present value. NPV accounts for the time value of money and provides a clear measure of the project's potential profitability. Net present value means what is the value of an asset or the investment which we have done so far? It considers all expected cash flows, the money coming inside, and allows for easy comparison with other investment opportunities. If we have invested in project B, what will be the return? Because in the NP, we have different varieties and options of the projects. Issues. Problem. NPV relies on accurate cash flow projections and discount rate assumptions, which can be challenging to estimate. That is, the extrapolations. It's difficult. It can be same for every project. It can be difficult, and for the year as well. Then comes internal rate of return (IRR). It calculates the project's expected rate of return. That is, you invested in the project in 2018. What will be the return in 2020? That is an IRR. It helps assessing its attractiveness, whether it's going to be a good one or a bad one project. It is especially useful when comparing multiple projects with different cash flow patterns like A, B, C, D, and so on. Problems. It can produce multiple solutions in some cases because of the liability and viability, both of the IRR. There are so many projects going on, and it depends which project is going to give you more return, making it necessary to consider other metrics alongside because you alone cannot work with IRR in a company. There is NPV, there is personal present value, and so many other things like formula. Then comes payback period. Now, this measures how quickly an investment will generate enough cash flows to recover the initial investment. I invested in project A 50,000. Now, in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have to see in which year I'll be able to get back that amount, and afterwards, the amount which I'm generating from it is going to be considered as profit. It provides a simple way to assess liquidity and risk, that is, the cash in hand, cash in the company. Problem. Payback period does not consider the time value of money because you know there is uncertainty of time. You can get the recovery of your investment in second year, maybe not 5 years too. It depends on the kind of project in which you have invested. And it ignores cash flows beyond the payback period because there is uncertainty factor again. Profitability index. Now, this is the ratio of present value of cash inflows to the present value of cash outflows. In a business in which inflows are more and outflows are less, it's the best one. But if it's vice versa, it is the worst condition. It helps in ranking projects based on their relative profitability. More inflow, the better profit you are going to generate, and the business is going to be liquidified. Like NPV, profitability index can on accurate cash flow projections and discount rate assumptions. Now you cannot change any discount rate, 5%, 6% like that. If it is, you have to work on it. In even the cash flow projection that is coming inflows of the money. Risk assessment. Evaluating project risks such as market volatility. Market is volatile because of the current exchange rate and so many other factors, employment, interest rates, inflation changes, AI is changing so fast. And regulatory factors that is abide by the government is crucial for strategic investments. This is the problems associated with the risk. Things changes way too rapidly. Problem assessment can be subjective, not objective. You're going to see the measures in reality and quantifying. You can measure it, you can feel it, it will have an adverse effect of the risk. Accurately is often challenging and it gets difficult, but that is how things and work business works on. Appraising strategic capital expenditure project is a multifaceted process that involves distinguishing between capital and revenue expenditures and utilizing various appraisal methods. What it means, both of these entities are quite important, have a significant effect in the organization, and with that it helps with the methods too, which we just did right now: npv, irr, and so on. The choice of method should align with the goals and risk tolerance, because sometimes the business, depending on the structure, whether it's small, medium, or large, they are not able to hold up everything quite nicely. It gets difficult for them as well. No single method is perfect, and that's true. You cannot use one method. You have to use different methods to see which one is the best for your project. And a combination of methods can provide a more comprehensive evaluation of the potential impact on the company's strategic direction, because in that way it is going to move. Moreover, ongoing monitoring and reassessment of the projects are essential to ensure alignment with the evolving business strategies. And in this way, we take steps beyond in the business field to be successful and to conglomerate or even diversify with different sectors. That's it. We're done with today's lecture. That was lecture number 2. And I think next week we have class for this course, if I'm not wrong. Then we are going to go
Yes,
for a
ma'am.
task point class, inshallah, assignment class.
Okay, ma'am.